up? This is Ben Foggin's Media Corner, and welcome back to another movie review, aka After I Saw. And today I'm going to be talking about the 2021 monster movie known as Godzilla vs. Kong. Now, Godzilla vs. Kong, this was directed by Adam Wingard, and this is the next chapter of the Monsterverse. We've had 2014 Gareth Edwards' Godzilla, we've had 2017's Kong Skull Island, and then most recently we've had 2019 Godzilla King of the Monsters, which is the sequel to Gareth Edwards' Godzilla. And so for the next chapter of this Monsterverse, the story of Godzilla vs. Kong basically centers on Kong and his protectors, who they go through this perilous journey to basically find Kong's real home. And along the ride, we see this young orphan girl named Gia who brings a powerful bond to Kong in this movie. And however, the path is cut short because gets in the way. We basically see this rampaging Godzilla out of the waters and basically causing massive destruction across the globe. And we basically see these two legendary titans going head to head. So that's pretty much the story of Godzilla vs. Kong. So for going into Godzilla vs. Kong, back then I was, of course, really looking forward to seeing how this was going to be for part of this Monsterverse, because for the previous three Monsterverse films we've had before, we've had Gareth Edwards' Godzilla. I really enjoyed that one, even though the biggest problem with that was not really much Godzilla in that. Although I still had a really good time with it. And we've had 2017's Kong Skull Island, which I enjoyed that one. I thought that was a good Kong film since Peter Jackson's King Kong, which I really enjoyed that movie. But the 2017 Kong Skull Island, I still had a really good time with it. Although it's not my favorite Kong film, but I still had a great time watching it. And for 2019's Godzilla King of the Monsters, which has the sequel to Gareth Edwards' Godzilla, at first I thought that one was pretty decent, but going back to it, I thought that film was okay. It's not the best Godzilla film I've seen. It's not the worst I've seen, because we've had the 1998 version, which I'll do a review of that on my channel, as well as those three movies I just mentioned. And it was great to see, the cast back from those original movies. We got Kyle Chandler, Millie Bobby Brown, Rebecca Hall, and you got Alexander Skarsgård in this movie, and you've got some new actors too, like Brian Tyree Henry as well, and some other cast of characters in this movie. And so I watched this today. To rent on TV, and it already came out yesterday in the US to release. That it was already released in cinemas in the US, but it's also streaming on HBO Max. So again, I watched this today to rent at home, and I had a really good time with Godzilla vs. Kong. I thought this was an absolute blast from beginning to end, and I think this was better than the last previous project we've had from them, which was Godzilla King of the Monsters, which again I thought that was okay, but this movie, it was a lot better than that. And this is surprisingly the shortest one of the series, because most of those ones were really 2 hours, but this one's kind of the shortest one. It's under 2 hours, so it's an hour and 53 minutes. Yeah, I had a really good time, to basically see these two legendary titans going head to head, which that's what every fan wants, and of course we finally got it. And for seeing that on screen, it did not disappoint. It was great to see that in a good way that fans really wanted to see. The action sequences in this movie between Godzilla and Kong in this movie, they were just absolute knockouts to watch on screen. For when we see them, punching and stuff like that, and seeing them causing destruction in this movie, which is towards its finale of the film, which that's not really a spoiler because it's in the trailer, so just to warn you guys. But And for the direction of this movie by Adam Wingard, for those action sequences, it feels like they put a camera on either Godzilla or Kong, and you see them punching each other or do anything in this movie. It feels like that and the camera's shaking around in the movie, shaking around for those scenes in the movie. It almost made me a bit dizzy, but luckily I did not get dizzy when I was watching it. But it might cause you to get some dizziness if you're not a fan of those action sequences. But it was still an absolute blast to watch. Still an absolute knockout blast to see Godzilla against Kong in those scenes. And the special effects in this movie were really stunning as well, for the effects of Godzilla and Kong, and as well as further scenes in this movie that as well as like other creatures and other like areas and all that kind of stuff in the movie, which I thought they were really well done. The characters in the movie, which like the human characters in this movie, I was almost thinking like, is this going to be like what the other like MonsterVerse films had before? Because for those ones, they weren't really that interesting and they were kind of a bit boring. It's not like everyone was bad in those movies. They all did good jobs. It's just really, some of its development is just really off. It's just kind of puts you off in the mood, and it kind of makes you like bored, like you just want to fall asleep because you just really want to, because you really care for these two legendary titans in every in their own movie before it built up to this. But luckily, the development for these characters, these human characters in this movie, they were developed really well. None of them were boring, although there were a few weaknesses, I thought, for some of the human characters. I thought there were some that I thought were a bit weak. They were just kind of mixed into, they were kind of separated from their own kind of characters in the movie. Like you got some who were in there who were really serious when they figure out what situation they're in and what they're trying to do with it. And you got some ones who provide comic relief, who are there to make us having a good time. And then you got someone who are kind of paranoid with this whole situation they're facing, like if they're either going to die or something. And for the acting in the movie, the acting was really good. The acting for the most part were pretty good. You got Alexander Skarsgård and Rebecca Hall, who were kind of serious in this movie when they try to figure out the whole situation between Godzilla and Kong in this movie. And you've got some comic relief ones like Brian Tyree Henry. He was really funny in the movie. And you got the young kid in the movie from Deadpool 2 and Hunt for the Wilder People. I forgot his name, but he also provided comic relief in the movie, and he was pretty funny as well for the most part. And you got Millie Bobby Brown in the movie. She was really good as well since Godzilla King of the Monsters. And you got Chandler, which this is the second time he's appeared in a movie that features Kong, which was back then, which was Peter Jackson's King Kong. And here, it was such a fun, interesting thing to see him doing, another movie with Kong. But in here, he was good in the movie too, and everyone else, they all delivered pretty good performances as well. And even for its pacing in the movie, is very well handled too, when it cuts back here and forth. If we're either seeing, Godzilla against Kong in one scene, and it cuts to any human characters in the film, like say it cuts to Alexander Skarsgård and Rebecca Hall, or Brian Tyree Henry and Millie Bobby Brown, and all that kind of stuff. The pacing of the movie is very well handled for those scenes in the movie that doesn't make you turn off your light and it just makes you want to fall asleep. It just did it in such a really good way. And in the end, Godzilla vs. Kong, this was such a good movie, and thankfully did not disappoint for those who are, willing to see, two legendary titans going head to head in this movie. And if you're a fan of either Godzilla or Kong, and if you really want to see this movie so badly, again, it's available to rent at home for the UK, but for the US, it's already released in cinemas, and it's also streaming on HBO Max. So if you're willing to watch it, this is definitely worth the one to see. So overall, I'm going to give Godzilla vs. Kong a B. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching my review of Godzilla vs. Kong. If you did see the film, I really like to hear your thoughts of this film. Did you had a blast with it, or were you let down with this? So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for my next video. And this has been Falcon's Media Corner signing off.